Good afternoon from sunny Alberta, just northwest of Calgary. And I'm on a farm here where I ride horses. I don't own the farm, I don't own a horse, but I ride horses here and I've been conscripted into doing some volunteer work on the fences. So I want to tell you what I've learned in a couple of summers of working on tightening barbed wire fences. Something I never thought I'd be doing in my 60s, but here I am. I have been tightening fences. This is one that's been tightened. This is the wire that we're going to work on, and this one is sort of tight, not perfect, but so you can see why you need to do it, because it not only doesn't look great, but it can be a hazard for the horses. That, you know, a little mini could get out through that probably, or be easier to get it off the staples and things like that. So you want to keep your fences tight, I guess, not just for aesthetics. I found a tool that I can use called the Texas Fence Stretcher, and that's what I'm going to use today. When I first learned to do this, the farm had a tool that almost looks like a crowbar. You attach it to the post and you have to stretch from the post and unwrap the wire and then rewrap it. And some of the wire around here is quite old and brittle. And so I thought, how do I stretch a fence from the middle, just between the posts? And this is the tool that does that. So I'll show you this. If you're going to buy one of these, they're all over YouTube. There's lots of videos of ranchers that are much more experienced than me doing this. But I went on and found that there were multiple versions of this, but I went for the good one. I went for the real Texas Fence Fixer, it's called. It's sturdy, it holds up, and I think I looked at a cheaper one and it just wasn't as sturdy, so you may as well get something that's gonna last. So here's my tools today. My Texas Fence Stretcher, my fencing pliers, which surprisingly I'm not going to use unless I needed to pull out a staple or put in a staple or do something weird because the wire broke. Not going to use them. A pre-cut piece of wire. I use 14 gauge wire, and it's probably a little bit more than a foot. It might be a little bit excessive, but this is the length that I find works pretty well and kind of how it comes off the roll. So I just snip, snip, snip and cut a bunch of them at the same time to save time when I'm out in the field. I use 14 gauge wire, and I'll show you why. Let me get started. I want to show you how to use this thing. Oh, my other tool is, which you'll see, is a wrench. Keep you in suspense on that one. So the first thing you're going to do is find your loose wire. I just hang that on the fence to minimize the bending over. And then, as you can see here, this has two notches, and when you move the handles, it releases the openness of the latch of the notch so that you can get your barbed wire in there. And I like to attach it quite close to the barb. The first one, I just open it up like that. Ugh. Sorry, I'm not a very good example right now. Get it right in there, and then right to the bottom, and then you just close it, just squeeze it, and that will hold it. And then the second one, you do the exact same thing. Get it out as far as you can, catch it, and then squeeze it, and that will hold it like a winch. And you'll learn quickly that if you don't get it all the way down into that groove, that you'll probably have to start again because it'll pop out. Then there's this chain and a notch here, and what you're going to do is tighten this as much as you can. Pull these handles together as much as you can, because that's what's tightening the wire. As you can see, it's making a loop in the wire here. So I just push it against my body, and sometimes my legs, sometimes my stomach, get bruises all over the place, and just attach it wherever you can. If a fence is really loose, you may pull these so that they're almost right together. I've had it right down to here before, and then you just get a bigger loop here. Then what you're going to do is take your piece of wire, and on the same side as you're working on the same side as you're standing on, the idea is this wire is going to go across here, and that's going to kind of become your new fence. So you sort of center it, and then you just start wrapping this around. I find one of the things I've learned is if you wrap it around the barb first and then come back, then it won't slip. The other thing that you just saw me do was put my leg against the stretcher, and that is one of the best tricks I've learned, because that keeps it from flopping around. When I first started, I tried stretching it, winding the the wire the other way and the thing was flopping all over the place. So this way it's braced against my leg and it's always stable that way. So again, on this side, you wrap it around the barb first and then just come back so that there's not a big piece of wire sticking out. I use 14 gauge wire because it's the weight of wire that I can twist with my hands. Some of you might probably have much stronger hands than me and could use a higher grade of wire, which would be stronger for the fence. But I found that this one holds. I've checked some that I did a couple of years ago and they're still holding. So I think it's adequate. If you can manipulate heavier gauge wire with your hands, and by all means use as heavy as you can. Here's where the wrench comes in. For this step, using fencing pliers got really cumbersome because it not only shredded the rubber on the handles, but it was just too big a tool. So I just got a wrench, and I'll show you the benefit of that. I stick it in here and use it like a lever. And again, I twist it in the direction so that the tool, the chain, is coming against my leg. Because you can see that if I tried to do it this way, it just flops all over the place. So I'm always twisting in this direction. And I just manipulate the wrench from one end to the other so that it will fit through the top here. And then I get that as tight as I can. Sometimes the wire goes a little bit wonky here and you just have to keep twisting and sort that out. I do it until I can pull the smaller end out. Here's where the wrench comes in. Then I can attach this and just keep twisting. And I can put that on the barbed wire and do a twist, put it on the 14 gauge wire and do a twist, maybe one more. If I'm working with really brittle, old, rusty wire, I probably stop sooner than this because I'm so scared it's going to break. And then I'm done with my wrench. I can take the chain off now and just open this up. Don't let it fall on your foot. Sometimes it'll pop off before you're done, and that's okay. Just keep twisting. And look at that. A nice tight wire. So those are the things I've learned and the tools that I've learned them with and the farm that I've learned them on. There's a nice horse over there just laying down, thanking us for making his paddock safe now. So thanks for watching.